Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the One Bitcoin Show. Today is the last day of June, the last day of the first half of this great year, June the 30th. 2020. Strong hand, long-term thinking, 5-digit realm. Oh yeah, I'm in that era. Golden age. It is the golden age. Having hype 2024. Strong hand for 2024. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. In motion. I'm offended by selling. I've got conviction. You get a new show here every day. Hello, my elite friends. How you doing this afternoon? If you have questions, I have answers. Type in BitcoinMeister or do a super chat with your questions. We're going to have a lot of time for questions today. I love your questions. So, hey, let's do it. Defiance over compliance, people. And the backup channel is linked to below. You get an old show there every day, except for Saturdays where it is the Beyond Bitcoin show. And we're going to mention some Beyond Bitcoin type of stuff in a second. This Week in Bitcoin, techbalt.com, TECHBALT. And it was great this week. It's also linked to below. Please, people, check out the links below. That's part of the whole show, part of the whole learning process. Andy Hoffman, Mauricio, and Gabriel in Fort Galt, Chile were on. So it's FUD court time. Remember when you were a kid and you used to go to the mall, to the food court? Well, it's time to go to the FUD court. We've done this before. And man, the FUD is being recycled. And people are reminding me about this. Quantum Bitcoin FUD. Uh-oh, quantum computers gonna hack Bitcoin, gonna destroy Bitcoin. Oh, Adam, people are talking about it. It's recycled. We talk about the efficiency of recycling. FUD recycling, very, very efficient, very efficient. It's just the same. There's no new FUD. I mean, it's like they really haven't added anything to the quantum Bitcoin FUD. It's the same as last time. It's very efficient recycling of the same thing, and then more people fall for it. That's the only thing that changes. It's more people actually use it this time. Use it. More people get scared about it every time, it seems like. I don't know what to say. Well, here we go. Here's the article. Will quantum computing bust Bitcoin? Okay, so yeah, you get your clickbait there. So that's why it's so efficient, because these guys over and over again, they want the clickbait. And the 80%ers fall for the clickbait. The World Economic Forum analyzes threat to cryptography. Okay, wow, World Economic Forum. And they just said some generalities that we already knew. Nothing really new. If quantum computing ever is real and gets to a certain level of quantumness, I don't know the terminologies, it gets very powerful, then yes, Bitcoin will have to change some things. And at the end of the article, this is the point that you people need to remember, okay? And I think a lot of you guys are great. Most of the people watching this, you're 20%ers. You don't get freaked out. You have strong hands. You're pounding that like button. But this guy, Dragos Ili, a quantum computing and encryption researcher at the Imperial College of London, says quantum computers have a long way to go before they can start breaking into Bitcoin. Again, quantum computers have a long way to go before they can start breaking into Bitcoin. This is something that Andreas Antonopoulos talks about. So sure, you're going to get recycled quantum FUD, but the bottom line, quantum computers have a long way to go before they can start breaking into Bitcoin. Pound that like button. So Surfer Jim is there. Doug is in the house. I don't listen to any organizations that start with world, says Doug. Doug, that's probably a good policy. Pound that like button. World Crypto Network, they're good though. Now, I don't agree with them when they talk about the current events of the world, but the World Crypto Network, Thomas Hunt, good Bitcoin. He's a Bitcoiner. I was about to say he has a Bitcoin strong hand. He actually has a Bitcoin weak hand. He spends his Bitcoin and everything. Hey, but some people do that. He loves Bitcoin. He really does love Bitcoin. Now, Let's talk about Bitcoin donations and current events. I think a lot of people were yesterday in Reddit, on YouTube, social media platforms. They seem to have a coordinated day of removing certain people and topics from their platforms. Political type of stuff, as if people were worried about the 2020 election so much that they had to censor people that really don't talk about the election that much. But there's one person that got kicked off of YouTube who I've mentioned many, many times. His initials are SM, kind of like sportsmeister.com. Where he's a philosopher. He's up in Canada. He's from Britain originally. And I don't agree with that dude a lot. But he can be right about a lot of things. And he was an early adopter of Bitcoin. And for a long time, he's been ready to be kicked off of YouTube. He's had his cryptocurrency donation addresses on his page. I would say that his page is linked to below, but it isn't, because I think one of the reasons he got kicked off of YouTube was because he linked to hate sites. So if I link to his site, who knows what will happen to me? Because obviously they consider him to be a hate site now. Now, you know, we can argue about YouTube's a private company, et cetera, et cetera. They can kick whoever they want off. But let's get to the bottom line, why I'm even talking about this. This dude who has raised millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin over the years. So people find out he gets kicked off, okay, through various means. And they start donating to his cryptocurrency addresses, all listed on his donation pages. In less than 24 hours, I checked this last night, I mean, it might have been less than 12 hours, he got 5 pages worth of Bitcoin donations, okay? So good, he was prepared. But compare that to the other addresses that he has up there. Bcash, he got 2 donations. Ethereum, he got 3 donations. Compare that to 5 pages of Bitcoin donations. So all the altcoin people out there, they love to say how Bitcoin is not good for transactions and donating. It's expensive, it's slow, blah, 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 and it's not expensive and it's not slow. And that, you know, especially the Bcash people are saying you're supposed to spend with Bcash. So what is the reality on the ground? There's your reality on the ground. Even people are sending moderate to small amounts of Bitcoin to this guy to support him. A huge, so much great, 5 pages worth of it listed on the Explorer site. And again, you find out who he is. His initials are SM. You find out his website. You see his, and I will talk about this more on the Beyond Bitcoin show. But yeah, people use Bitcoin to donate. Why not Bcash? Because they don't know it. It's just they don't have it. This is the reality of the world. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Ethereum's pretty darn popular too, right? People aren't sending Ethereum to him. It's people are using Bitcoin for regular transactions, regular donations. When all these altcoins say no, that's it's inefficient. Mine is so much better. If yours are so much better, why aren't they actually using it on the ground? So there's an example of real life right there. What people are using Bitcoin for, and how they're not using altcoins at all. Not at all, but very, very small there, very small. 2 Bcash, 3 Ethereum compared to 5 pages of Bitcoin. All right. So yeah, Bitcoin dominates his donations and it always has. And I linked to a article from Yahoo that talks about the shutdown of these pages, the purge Monday that happened yesterday. If you want to read more, and there you can see the guy's name. It's SM, or his initials. You can learn his name there if you don't know who he is already. Now, he's bald. Shiny head. The traditional banking system would break first if quantum computing was a thing? Yes, it would. All right, come on, people, throw in some questions there. Doug said the person's name. He spelled out the person's first name, because maybe you can't even type out his whole name here on YouTube. Hey, man, YouTube's going to do what they're going to do. Now, next story. Got to lower my voice a little bit. I'm getting so excited. And where was I? All right. Now, let's talk about altcoins for a second now. A lot of people hate on Coinbase because they sell like fifth-tier altcoins now. They're not pure. It's obvious that gamblers are going to gamble. But I get this email from Gemini today that made me think. Buy easily. We make buying and selling crypto easy. Buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bcash, they call it by its full name, and Litecoin, and more instantly. More and more, okay? Buy now. So they put Bitcoin on the same level as Ethereum, Bcash, Litecoin. Now, those are top tier altcoins, no doubt about it. So why are people spazzing out at Gemini? Okay. Is it okay if they just list top tier altcoins in their promotions? Because they do list it on the actual site. You can buy lower tier. Now, it's not as many as Coinbase. So is that the big difference? Because Coinbase has like 30 some and Gemini only has 8 or whatever they have. Is that the difference? I'm curious. For me, I'm like, compete, don't complain. Gemini can do what they want to do. Coinbase can do what they want to do. I'm not sending them to any Bitcoin inquisition, but I'm curious why, against, and so people say, well, Coinbase is, they've done deals with organizations that compromise your privacy. All right. Well, Gemini gives your information over to the IRS also. That's the law. Gemini follows every rule in the book also. Okay. That's how they got their bit license. All right. Now, I'm curious. Is there, I can, and a logical explanation is that Coinbase is worse with they're making deals with, although it's just with public information, with companies that spy on you. Okay. There's an argument right there. But in terms of just pure altcoin selling, you're going to sell. They're encouraging people to buy altcoin. They know what the business. Coinbase and Gemini both know the business model is diversify for the sake of diversification. People fall for it. So they're both preaching it on a certain level there. They're both preaching it on a certain level. So for me, I'm not going to vilify Coinbase and I'm not going to vilify Gemini at all. I'm just saying, because I understand how the 80%er thinks. I understand how that it's been ingrained in everyone's head, diversify for the sake of diversification, even though and then they make it look like that Bitcoin is equal to these other coins when it's not. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. One Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. One Litecoin does not equal one Bitcoin at all. But they make it seem like it. And that's just like that, all right? And I understand that. And altcoiners, gamblers, going to do what they're going to do. Very few people out there can have the Bitcoin discipline like we do, okay? In terms of, we get some extra fiat, what are we going to do with it? Are we going to buy Bitcoin with it, or are we going to diversify? Going to get a big bundle? There are very few people that will be like us or be like me and only use fiat to buy Bitcoin. Never have used fiat to buy and to mess around in the altcoin space at all. Few people can have that discipline. All right, pound that like button now, and that long-term thinking. And let's talk about South Africa real quick. The DeFi Conference 2020 on August 5th. It's free. Now, I've mentioned this before, that Sonia over there has put on conferences that I've obviously attended. She put on the first Bitcoin conference ever in South Africa, back in 2015, which I was at. And I was, again, at the one in 2018. She's a nice lady. She understands. She's a marketing lady. And the DeFi is this magical buzzword, okay? And why not jump on it? Now, she can't host an event in person there now, so it's online. And she's not if you want to watch the event, it's free. And she's charging sponsors. All right. Now, I praise her for making the most of a bad situation. I want people to be able to meet in person and go to events again. Okay. But this part of the event space is growing during this ridiculous time period that we're living in right now. So compete, don't complain. There are always going to be some people that do like these online events, especially if they're free. And maybe she's really changing the business model there. I give her she's on the ground floor here of revolutionizing the crypto conference business model here. Okay. And yeah, it's definitely a crypto conference. She's gone way beyond Bitcoin in her ways. I mean, that's her business. And I will say this, it resembles this DeFi magic word thing, this DeFi conference thing. There are going to be more DeFi conferences that are probably going to be in person. It reminds me of 2018 at the beginning, the ICOs, how the ICOs would dominate crypto events, okay? And how I would read about these events. And I wouldn't know anybody hardly anyone that were speaking at the events. And just her event too. I only know 2 guys that are speaking there, maybe 2 or 3. There might be a third that I glanced over, one of whom I met in South Africa. So this DeFi theme clearly, again, is resembling the ICO theme. It's not on that level yet, but clearly there are signs that it will get to that level. So again, we're talking about the South Africa conference. I'm glad there's free conferences. I'm glad someone is making the most of a ridiculous situation, revolutionizing the space. Maybe in 2 years, who knows? It'll be completely different. The meetings, the so-called meeting space in cryptocurrency. All right, but I'm glad for those who like live talks, for those who like to learn, good. Now, I want to also point out, as I read these ridiculous stories on the mainstream crypto publications online, how they have to talk about every private blockchain that monitors trucking of food across the world, or it's just the ridiculous things that private blockchains can supposedly do. And it usually involves food or fish or who knows, supplies. I just want to say the people that I follow on Twitter, the feeds that I go to every day, I might not agree with them on everything. And some of them talk about altcoins but these dudes never seriously post stuff as mindless as that. I just want to tell you guys that because I do mention some of the same dudes a lot. Vinny Lingham, Zach Vole, Nick Carter, whoever, Matt Odell, Andy Hoffman, whoever. No one of the many Twitter feeds, crypto-related Twitter feeds that I read every day, because I am not a servant of the algorithm. I don't go what's fed to me. I go search out stuff. I use my brain, actually. None of those dudes ever post anything as ridiculous as those private. They don't take that stuff seriously at all. They don't take that kind of stuff seriously at all. No one. I mean, it's such, I guess part of they've realized that it's clickbaity and it just gets certain people in. It probably increases the hits on CoinDesk and Cointelegraph. I assume that's why they do it. It's so ridiculous, some of those stories. Now, finally, this is a serious question from Alistair Milne. I really love it. Serious question for the bears and the naysayers. If a round trip to $4,000 and back in March, and it was actually less than $4,000 for a couple of seconds there, in March, did nothing to trigger holders to start selling, what will? And he's referring to that, in the last year, 61% of Bitcoin hasn't moved. Is that what it is? And when we had that drop that day, there were plenty of entities that sold. There's plenty of panic selling that day. Guys that had they needed some money to make up for their stock losses and everything that went wrong that day. But a bunch of people, me included, we bought more, and then there were some people that didn't sell. If that didn't make people panic, okay, if that didn't cause people to get disillusioned, because afterwards it popped back up again. It popped up again, and you would think some people would be like, okay, it's worth more now. I don't want to get scared again. I'm selling. But again, we're at an all-time high in terms of Bitcoin that has not moved in the last year. So if something like that can't freak people out, if something like that can't say, people say, mercy, I'm not a holder anymore. I got to do something with my stash. Then what will? What will? Because I've said this for years and years. The ship isn't going down ever. It's never going down to zero. But dude, you better believe my mentality is I'm going down with the ship, and it's clear. There are plenty of people out there that will go down with the ship. So maybe some of you do have some theories. What would make the holders totally? What negative? Something negative that would make them just give up and say, I'm out of Bitcoin. Because I think I will say this: there will be some of those holders when it gets to an all-time high, that they will get weak hands. They will sell. They will be like, that's it. I've done it. That's it. I value my wealth in fiat. I'm out of here again. Hey, but I give them credit at least. At least they have patience to wait for that. That's a little bit of long-term thinking there. DeFi is the next DeFi. Don't conflate it with ICO mania. No, well, in terms of people who get caught up in buzzwords, I think it is the next ICO. They're just some people, they don't even understand what they're buying into. They've heard there's going to be some FOMO on that. Okay, there's going to be some blind FOMO. People, they won't even know what they're buying, and there'll be people creating tokens that'll be like, this is a DeFi token, and what will make it different than other tokens? Nothing, just that they use the buzzword. So I do disagree with that. The DeFi on a certain level, DeFi is obviously different than ICOs, okay? But on a marketing level, on a buzzword level, on creating some unnecessary FOMO for newbies, I think it's going to be very similar, very similar. All right. How do you make your money, sir? Do you have a job? Well, I've answered this question many, many times before. First of all, YouTube pays me money. I saved an incredible amount of money from selling my houses, and I don't spend money at all. I don't spend money. I so little. So it's not about making money. All right. When you're living this lifestyle, it was about saving a while ago. Okay. And it was not, I wasn't buying Lambos and stuff. I had a Chevy Cavalier. All right. That is the only car I have ever owned. And I haven't owned that car now since 2014. Okay. You just don't spend. Most people, they can't, they're addicted to this hyper consumerism stuff. They must spend. So they don't understand, like, well, Adam, how can you do? I mean, if you watched my show the other day, again, I talked about how on the side of the road, I found a bunch of onions. I don't pay for food sometimes. I mean, come on. I can find free food. Can you do that? So it's about being resourceful, okay? And living off of what you have and being able to budget stuff. So I'm very good at budgeting. I don't spend on ridiculous things. And so, yeah, that's how I make my money, dude. That's how I do it. All right. But yeah, I get the podcast makes money too. The audio, I get a check from that. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Okay. And Surfer Jim says, I'll be joining you on the perpetual traveling lifestyle. And ASAP, dude, that's awesome. And please, people, watch the Beyond Bitcoin show on my backup channel every Saturday if you want to know how I do this, how I save money. All right, and I give you specifics about how much things are costing me. Okay, I mean, I'm only going to spend $5,000 over the next 3 months total on everything in my life. I mean, that's not an exact right there, but I can give statistics like that, son. I mean, when I was in Chile, I mean, the cost of living there was so freaking low. I go to places where you just don't need much. All right. but so many people are trees. They're stuck where they are, and then they're like, how could Adam do this? How does he do it? I'm living in such an expensive city where I go to Whole Foods every day and buy the most expensive things and fill up my car with the most expensive gas and have a car, and own an apartment and pay a condo fee. All these things I just mentioned, I don't do at all. I don't pay any. I have no car. I don't have any car. I don't have any house insurance. I don't have any property taxes. I don't. It's no maintenance fees on anything. I don't own a cell phone. How about that? What are my cell phone costs during a year? Zero. So that's how you do it, people. All right, but good question. And yet some people still won't get it. They still won't get it. Gabriel Shear is in the house. All right. He was on the show on frickin' Friday, guys. Check out This Week in Bitcoin. Link to below. Gabriel Shear actually called in to that guy's show once. The guy who got banned from YouTube yesterday. Gabriel Shear was able to get on his show once. All right, that is it. What do we have here? If there's not an all-time high in the next few years, that will shake holders, you think? It's some, yeah, that probably will. But we're one day close. They don't have the mentality that we're one day closer to an all-time high, and they don't know about the 210,000 block theory. Yeah, if it doesn't come true, if the 210,000 block theory doesn't hold true, there'll be some. I will be disappointed, but I won't be selling my Bitcoin. Heck no, because I know we're one day closer to it. All right, dude, I'm out of here. Where did I get those houses? This guy asked. Well, I bought my house on Linden Avenue in Baltimore, Maryland for $41,000. And the other house I bought on Howard Street for $38,000. Now, over time, I paid off all of those. So when I sold them, it was pure profit. So that again, that's how you do it. You're a long-term thinker. You buy things that are on sale. You buy things that are. You don't need the most expensive house in the world. You could in Baltimore, Maryland. Now, again, those were part of experiments in living. Obviously, the house on Linden Avenue in Reservoir Hill. Would people consider that a safe neighborhood? Most people wouldn't consider that, but it was part of the buy a block program, something that I came up with. A bunch of us bought houses on the same block, and over time, the houses went up in value. I saw, got into the 100,000s there. That house of mine. So there was large profit on both of those houses, and again, the Linden Avenue house. I lived in it for. Didn't put much into that house either. So I was living so low cost all those years, and I was able to save money all that time. I worked for myself. So again, people ask, how did you get the house? I didn't go into freaking debt to get those houses. I will tell you that, man. It was very minor type of stuff. Okay, when you're talking about $41,000 and $38,000 houses, but it's all public record. All of it is public record there if you want to look at it at the years that it happened. All right, and how much I sold it for. And how it was great to get out when I did, because the cost to hold those things has went up quite a bit. And one can understand why. Just because the governments need more and more revenue. And I was not going to be their tax servant for that, definitely. And so now I live off of those. I live off of that money. It's great. Linden Avenue. It was a great experience being on Linden Avenue. I wouldn't recommend it for everyone, but yeah. Anyway, this is beyond Bitcoin type of stuff right now. I'm Adam Meister, the BitcoinMeister. This is Rob Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, check out the links below. Pound that like button, bang that bell button. I will see you later. Bye-bye.